Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we are diving into the exciting world of Spring Boot, a powerful tool for developing robust Java applications. We'll talk about IntelliJ, Spring Boot, Java and how to start a project from scratch. Let's get started. Let's begin with the development environment. The best, we are in here, okay? This is called IntelliJ in English. The best development environment for Spring Boot is IntelliJ, final period. It's a specialized integrated development environment that is IDE for Java. Java is an older language than Python and is closer to the C standard language. This makes it more robust and a little more intimidating, I know, and it has a steeper learning curve. Imagine Python more like a sportive car, like a Ferrari or a Tesla. Now imagine Spring Boot more like as a truck. It's bigger, it needs a lot of energy to get started, but once it's moving, nothing can stop it. Nothing. Now let's see how to kickstart a new Spring Boot project. Okay, so we come here, head over to the Spring Initializer page to begin with. Here you can choose between Maven or Gradle. These are tools for managing dependencies, which are necessary libraries in Java to make everything work nicely. Okay, I prefer Maven for web applications, for making API RESTful applications. Okay, which are be sure not to select never snapshot IM2. Okay, these are the Spring Boot. Usually I recommend you to choose the latest version. In this case is always the default version, at least for me it is the 3.1.5. This is good. I don't recommend you to choose a snapshot or sometimes it appears like an M2 or like this an RC2 version, because I don't recommend you to choose those ones because they are untested and sometimes unstable versions. So the most stable version here is this one, the default one. Okay, next, specify the metadata that will define your project structure. This is very simple. Here we have some examples. It's simply like naming your project. This here is going to determine what will be the structure of packages. Not necessarily the structure of packages, but only the naming of the packages. Like here, if you see here, the folder that I just selected, it says com.laboratory.airline backend. Okay, that's it. That's all. It's like well structuring your dependency, not your folder names. Okay, here you choose whether you want to save the project after compiling as with jar files or with war files. I personally prefer the jar files. And here you select the Java version. This is very important for later selecting the JD key. You do this. You do this depending on what your boss tells you. Okay. Usually, I like to always prefer the latest version. In this case, the 21 version, the 21st version. Okay. After that, okay. You create your project, that's okay. For saving time, I already did it. So next we're going to make the two configurations for running a project. These are two configurations that I learned back in the university in Montreal. The first configuration is clean install, where for making that configuration it's very simple. Like at first you will not have any configuration, so you simply go in here and edit configurations. You're going to add one with Maven in this case, because that's the dependency manager that we've just selected. Here you write down the name, clean install, and here you select the two commands that will be executed each time that you apply this that you run this configuration. In this case, clean and then install, and then you say okay, that's it. The same for the other, Spring Boot run. Okay, if I want you to check it out in here, Spring Boot run. Okay, what these configurations do, it's very simple. The clean install, it's like compiling, but it's not really, well, yes, it's compiling. If you click in here. Let's see what happens. And you run it. Okay, this in the console. It's going to compile the code. It's going to compile all the folders of the different dependencies that we have, and most importantly, it's going to if there is any errors or any warnings, anything that it's not okay, this is going to tell you very explicitly where the mistake is, where the error is. It's like a compiler. Okay, this is going to take some time. That's why I didn't want to do it right here. It's like I said previously, Java is more robust. It's like a truck. It takes a little more energy to start, but once it starts, nothing can stop it. I know that this project in this state has no errors, so well, here it's simply running some automatic test to see that everything is just fine, it's just working okay. Okay. Here it's already starting the project here, and this is the logo for Spring. It's going here. It's like trying to run it. It's like doing a running simulation to check out if everything is working okay. And then well, that's it. It didn't find any errors, and that's good. And the next step will be okay. You do a Spring Boot run, and you run it, and that one it's going to last as long as the server is on. Okay, this is only compiling it. It lasts only like 2 minutes maximum, but the Spring Boot run lasts as long as the server is on for development applications. Here it tells you what is the port, the communication port that it will use. Well, no, not here. In the Spring Boot run, it tells you that. Most important here is that it says that there is no errors. That's it. It automatically installs all the dependencies that are new, and here we didn't find any errors. That's fine. Okay. So after that, there is the pom.xml. Just one sec. Okay, we're in here. We're watching the pom.xml. This file is very important. Here you define what are the dependencies. That is the main libraries for your project, and what will be like the structure, the packages that your project will use. In this case, we have like an email sender for the project I am working on, security dependency, JWT token dependencies, very important for the security that I am applying to this application. Some SQL, you can Apache configurations right there. Okay. Next, it's very important, if you remember what I just said here during the Spring Initializer, the Java version is very important here, because if you go here in project structure, okay, and we go in here, the module SDK is very important, like the Java, this is the Java compiler that your project is using. So it's very important that you download, that you use the Java compiler that your boss tells you, that your project leader tells you to do. Okay, that's all. Because if you are using the wrong SDK, nothing is going to work. Okay. Download the JDQ, project SDK. You can download it from here or from an additional package directly from internet. There are many ways, but I'm not looking into those processes right now. I just want you to have an overlook of all of this. Okay. As you can see here, we have a lot of folders, but thanks God, Spring Boot manages all of that through the pom.xml file. This class is like your main class. Is your main class. When you run the code, this is the first class that gets executed. And if you're creating a RESTful web application, it's empty. All it does is like it's starting the machine, starting the car, starting the vehicle, like saying, okay, now your endpoints are available for the communication processes to begin. Okay. It's important to notice that once you do a Spring Boot run, and this is running, okay, and your application is working, and you make some changes to the code. Like, I'm going to show you some code here, like here in the controller, like the admin controller. Okay, these are some endpoints that I'm currently working on. If you use some changes during execution time, those changes will not be automatically applied to the application. Okay, you first have to stop the server and then rerun it, run it again. Okay, that's important to notice. The structure is very simple. Here we have, let me close this. The main class that gets, it's there for default. The model class, here you have to make a class for every table in your database. Okay, for example, role or role permission or user, obviously. Here, the magic of all of this is that Spring Boot is going to automatically connect everything from the class to the database. You only have to add like these decorators here, like entity, and here you say what table you are aiming to in the database. A builder for making all the process of creating a new object way much easier, with all the attributes, the methods, etc, etc. This for so you make a class for every table in your database. You have a repository, and that's also magic. Like okay, let's see, like the client, the user repository. I just want to find it. Card, offer, passenger, role, seat, user. Okay. If you are using this, you won't have to write a single SQL command ever again in your life. Why? Because these repositories extend the JPA repository, and here you select the class that you just made in the model folder, and it automatically will write the SQL commands for you. If you want to save, if you want to delete, if you want to update, if you want to etc, etc, this will write those methods for you. It will present to you an abstraction of all that logic. Where? Well, in the controller. The controller is like the controller classes is where you finally make your endpoints. So for example, here in admin controller, authentication controller, okay, that's funnier. You have your endpoint, there your request mapping with this URL address. You allow the cross origin from the frontend. Here you define some attributes if you need to. Okay, this is good. Like the endpoint for register is a post mapping with this URL, with this parameter. This is the attribute that this endpoint is receiving, and this is a response. The response in this case is that it's going to call the service, and the service is going to start a lot of a stir of processes ahead for making all the registration possible. But you don't have to write at any moment SQL commands. This is going to make it for you automatically. For example, here, like I'm sure I have an update. Okay, this one is another endpoint, a post mapping. It receives this data here. You update all the new attributes of this admin, and here you say, okay, user repository dot save user. That's all. Automatically it knows that if it's unknown, if it is an existing user, it's going to update the new fields, or if it is a new user, it's going to save, it's going to insert it in the database. Okay, that's the magic I want to present to you. Like all this framework presents to you an abstraction. Then you only have to use like object language or object-oriented language for accessing database methods, and that's going to make your life much easier. Okay, thanks to the obviously thanks to this extension here, the JPA repository. The JPA is what allows it's what allows us to do this. Okay, next, that was the most difficult part of the video, the exploration of these folders and what folder is intended to do, the automatic mapping between classes and databases and database tables thanks to the JPA extension. Understand the difference between get, post and put. Okay, here this is a topic much bigger than what I'm about to tell you, but generally post is that from the front end you are passing information, and you want to pass information to this URL for doing this logic, for doing this method. For example, for a post mapping, I need the user mail. Okay, I need the email of the user, so the front end passes this email to me, and that's why it's a post, because you are posting that information back to the backend. There are other methods like get here. Get doesn't receive any information. It just say like, I am the front end and I'm saying to the backend, hey, may you please give me that information? And that's it. It's like a get. I'm getting information for you, but I'm not giving you anything in exchange. Okay, it's just a get. I want to get information. I don't want to post anything, and that's the most important. Then you have always the delete for deletion, that it's going to automate. It's going to make it automatically, or the put. The put, it's going to update the information, and etc, etc. Those are simple some information for the HTTP process, HTTP logic for building web applications that are robust and safe. Okay, I don't have much left to tell you, just the general lines. The architecture, here you can do whatever you want. Just let me take this here and project. With this folder structure, you can do whatever you want, whatever project you have in your mind. Here I'm applying a security model with a token. That's very cool. And automatically here in the config, you can configure the security configuration of your application with very few steps, like what are the safe URLs, what are the safe endpoints, like authenticate and register. I don't need you to have a token to access those informations, okay? But for the rest of actions, you do have to have a token, etc, etc. How you are going to handle the logout method, how you are going to handle the session information, how you are going to build your authentication token, etc, etc. Okay, as you can see, using Spring Boot is very intuitive, similar to playing with Lego. We use predefined components to build our functions. Okay, for security reasons, I cannot show to you like this file here, it's like the application properties, because it contains some security information like passwords and etc. So no, thank you. In general, that's that for today. When you're running this, you already have a robust and possible safe backend logic and framework to work with. So that's it for today. I hope this tutorial has helped you to get started with Spring Boot. If you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe and share it with your friends, and see you next time. I hope that this will help you, and thanks for watching.